Alrighty, we're finally live. I think we got it working. Marc Braun will be in within the next 2 minutes. We're going to get this show kicked off. It's episode 3, The Power of Positivity. I'm sorry for the technical difficulties. We're still trying to work this out. Just give me 2 seconds and see if he comes in. Marc is here. Let's add him to the screen. Alrighty. We are adding him in. There he is, the man of the
Outstanding.
hour. God
Eighth time's
damn.
the charm.
Your camera's, I guess it's terrible. I mean, I don't know.
What?
Your
My
camera.
camera?
Yeah, you just wouldn't
I
connect.
invest in
You
I
wouldn't
invest in
connect.
quality equipment. Okay.
Kelson, what's going on? Kelson just joined. Julie's on watching. Marc Braun, you're obviously here on the show. Episode number 3, The Power of Positivity. Let's give it, let's say, about 3 minutes. I said on Facebook that we were having technical difficulties, so that I would allow till 7:30 to push back the show. We're gonna wait for some
Sounds
people to
good.
come in here. If
Oh,
you
some
can,
of my peeps are joining. Look at this.
yeah, if you can share it right now to see if they could
Wait,
come in.
but can I? Oh, all right. Just I don't want to, risk the finally awesome connection we have.
Share it.
So,
I'm sure you could share it.
all right, yeah. I'm just gonna. All right, there we go. Got it.
Alrighty, good. Let me sip on my lemonade.
There we go. Thank God for
Eduardo is in the
patience.
house. Mr. Manuel, ¿cómo estás? Just giving it a minute. Episode number 3, The Power of Positivity. We had to push it back to 7:30 because we were having technical difficulties. Julie says you're welcome because if without her, I wouldn't know that I would have been live to the public or just to you.
She holds you down, Nick. She holds you down.
Absolutely. Alrighty, so let's get the phone propped up. We're going to get into the introduction here. Perfect. I just got your notification for sharing it. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Alrighty, so this is episode 3. The first one we had 560 viewers. The second one we're over 600. We're closer to 700 viewers. Let's see if Marc Braun, if you can break that 700. You think you could do it?
Don't make me sweat now. I mean, I can live up to pressure, but let's do it.
Alrighty, so let's get into it. A little introduction about Marc Braun. He is a fitness mogul, a motivator, and a first responder. All right. He's currently in the academy for the NYPD, correct?
That's absolutely right.
Alrighty, awesome. And when are you finished with that?
We finish up just before New Year's, so you can watch for a bunch of young cops on TV when the ball drops, and you might find me.
There you
So
go. Just a little advice, your camera's a little off to the side. There you go.
better now.
Yep, perfect. All right. So let's bring it into the first question. My first question for you. It's all unscripted. This is the drive. Nobody knows anything. The first question is, if there is a half glass of water in front of you, is it half full or half empty?
Oh, the traditional question: half full or half empty? Well, I would say it's half empty. Um, I'm a firm believer in emptying the cup. You want to look at things as if they're empty. Um, you always want to have an open mind. You want to go throughout life as a student. You want to fill up that cup with as much knowledge as you can, and you want to keep that open mind because let's face it, there's almost 9 billion people on this earth, and there's a lot of knowledge and a lot of culture and a lot of experiences. And without keeping an open mind and allowing different viewpoints to seep into you, um, how are you going to communicate with other people?
Right. I mean, that's a good way of putting it. To be honest with you, I'm going to be 100%. I thought your answer was going to be totally different. Um, I think that how I look at it is I think the glass is half full, meaning being more positive. But you took it a whole nother deeper level, which is great,
Yeah.
and that's what we're here to talk about. We got a couple people joining. Frankie, what's up? How's everything going? We got Tiago. What's going on? Our boy
Tiago,
Tiago. Wow, bring me
long
back.
time no talk.
Yeah.
Wow, Tyler, what's up? Ryan,
Yep.
Jocelyn, nice.
Sandra, what's going on? Alrighty, so you think the glass is half empty, but you took it in a totally different way that I've never even thought about it. That's awesome. Martin Robert, thank you for joining. Guys, please answer, I'm sorry, please ask questions, comments. I want you guys to fill it up. I'll be reading them up. I'll ask Mark, whatever you guys want to ask. So let's
Absolutely.
go.
I'm all
Let's
ears.
go into some questions. Um, Being a fitness mogul and a motivator, you obviously have to be positive. I mean, if you're negative, I don't think you'll be having those shredded abs that you have over there.
I appreciate it. No, a lot goes into it. Let's get something straight, right? We're human. Um, we're not robots. We're gonna feel the pressure of negativity. Life is not always going to be sunshine and rainbows. When you
Mhm.
go on social media, when you talk to different motivators and coaches or Instagrammers or influencers, they'll tell you, yeah, keep going and you can do it. Be positive, right? Well, to some people, those are just words. To some people, really, those deep-seated feelings of negativity. Um, for them, life isn't sunshine and rainbows. So it's okay. It's okay to realize that negativity, but it's not okay to settle for it. It's not okay to let that negativity sink the ship. You know that
Absolutely.
I'm sure some of us have heard that analogy before. You never want to let the negativity sink the ship because let's face it, throughout life we're in an ocean of positivity and negativity. That's where being pessimistic or optimistic comes into play. But if you can be a realist, if you can realize that, hey, I got 20 homework assignments due on Friday, but I'm going to be okay. I'm going to get through it. It might suck, but you know what? I'm going to get through it the best way I can, being the best person possible. I'm not going to forget about others along the way. I'm going to pick others up along with me. I'm going to talk to my classmates, say, hey, let's just get this done. We got to do it. That's where the positivity comes into play. You're kind of pivoting. You're at a pivot point. It's a mindful kind of tactic
Right.
that even first responders use.
Absolutely. That's a great answer. Now, what brought you to the power of positivity? So, what brought you to that thinking? What elevated your game to get to that thinking to where you're not going to let anything else affect you?
Well, granted, I've only lived a short life on this earth compared to, thousands of others of, speakers or coaches or fitness gurus. But it's not the number of years that you've been on this earth that counts. It's the experience. It's what you filled your cup up with. That kind of determines the mindset that you will have growing up. So me personally, I've been uh, through a lot of bullying. I've been through a lot of bullying. Started in early middle school, carried its way into early high school. I was always the youngest guy in the class, the smallest guy in the class. I never got the girl. I was always the nice guy. I was always the nerd. So there were a lot of deep-seated self-esteem issues. Um, but instead of kind of drawing back into myself and becoming a real introvert or couch potato, um, I took it upon myself to, hey, I said, hey, you know what? I cannot live with this. I cannot live with just going home every day after school and not making an effort to change. Um, I'm the only one that's going to take care of me. And so growing up throughout middle school, I started working out. I dove into the books. I put my head into so many fitness magazines and fitness sources and motivational sources. And I really tried to mature myself to a point where in the future, this negativity won't sink me again.
Wow. Yeah. When I had let's talk about us a little bit. How did we first meet? That's
Oh,
a
man.
funny story.
Well, most of my friends know back in the day, I, made music and, was DJ Mark So and 5 other DJ names. But so we met just through Facebook. Actually, we met through social media um, in regards to just making music, and we kind of clicked on that level.
Let me
Nick,
tell
you
the
were
real story. Let me tell the real
all
story.
right. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I hit him up on Facebook because I saw that he was interested in making music and stuff
I
like
wanted
that.
to leave the whole part out,
That's
but
okay.
then my family
No,
thought you were fraud calling. All
we're
right.
gonna go there. All right.
Okay.
I hit him up on Facebook. I said, "Yo, let's hang out. Let's make some music." Blah blah blah. He said, "Okay, no problem. Come over here." I guess he was a little sketched out that I hit him up. So I went over to his house, and they were worried. His parents were worried if I was gonna be a pedophile or something.
They're downstairs. I can bring them up. They can say hi to
Yeah,
you. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. We have a couple more people that joined the show. I mean, we got a lot of people on here. Ryan
Yeah. No.
McKenzie,
Oh,
Zach
it's all
Feldman. What's
my
going on?
got a good crowd coming. Mark, Sean, Alex, Kyle, Brittany.
We got a
Beautiful.
great crowd, man.
Great. They're
So
gonna get to hear how
yeah,
your
let's get
stuff.
back into it. Let's get back into it. How was or how has your life been affected by the power of positive thinking? I know you said that there's dark days, and we all have had them. I've had my shares. I'm going to get into that side a little bit later. But how has it affected your life specifically? What have you noticed change for you?
Well, I'm a firm believer in the law of attraction. For those of you who don't have an understanding of what that means, basically what you put out, the energy that you give out into the world, and it could be as simple as holding a door for somebody, or just asking someone how their day is, but genuinely being interested in someone else's day, asking, what is your problem? How could I help you? Just the whole mindset of putting positive energy out into the world. By positively thinking and applying that energy to all the other souls you meet in your day. And as hard as that may be sometimes, you cultivate that mindset, you do it daily, it turns into a habit. It takes 21 days or so to start building a habit. Uh, it just starts to grow on you. And you get a lot more. Really, what that turns into is by giving out that energy, all the experiences you take in return, all the little interactions, the little minute moments of our lives that might not mean anything to the layperson, but to us, we perceive those interactions as positive. And because of that, that changes our mindset, and it's a cycle. The more positivity you give, the more positivity you get in return because you're perceiving those interactions as more positive.
Absolutely. But have you noticed anything specifically that you could say, maybe if I was in a negative state, that this shit wouldn't have gone this way, or I wouldn't have this door open for me. Like anything specific you could target?
Yeah, I'll I'll probably the first thing that comes to my mind is relationships. So my relationship, um, a few years back when maybe I was still trying to learn how to cultivate my positive mindset, my positive habits, um, maybe I wouldn't have had enough of that positivity to put it into my relationship and try to compromise or understand where the other person is coming from or be empathetic. But now, fast forward, with the power of positive thinking, relationships really are the first thing to change, and that happens to be with my current girlfriend, Meredith. Um, because of my positive thinking, I'm able to think outside the box more and kind of dive deeper into how she might feel and give her some positivity, and that makes our relationship 10 times better.
Absolutely. I mean, if you're always negative in a relationship, it's miserable. You know,
Yeah.
I was getting to a point where there's good versus bad or evil. There's positive versus negative. There's God versus the devil, whatever you want to call it. Through my life, I've been on both sides. I'm sure everybody could say this. I've
Mm-hmm.
been down in the dumps. I've been, you know, at the best point of my life. I was, very happy and positive. And you
Yeah,
could
I
say that,
remember.
yeah, you've seen me go through my cycles. I've been up and down.
Hmm.
And I could say with my experience that the negative has nothing to offer you. It leads nowhere. It leads to a dark room where it's just, what's the point of living if there's no hope? You know what I'm saying? If you're
Right.
not going anywhere and there's so much negative and you hate everybody, you hate everything you do or whatever it might be, it almost becomes to the point where everything's pointless. So going down that dark road, it's so pointless. But the good thing with positive, it brings hope. And as soon as you start to change, and as soon as you start to change your thinking of how, you know, looking at the good side of things, um, things start to change and things start to happen. Doors that were locked all your life suddenly start to open. You start to see certain pathways you want to go down that weren't there because you're so blinded by the negativity.
Absolutely. Yeah. And
It's
I get what you're saying. And that's the thing. For a lot of people, they might not understand what you and I exactly mean. And I'll just break it down like I broke it down before with the laws of attraction. It comes down to it takes conscious effort, really, like working on yourself, uh, looking at yourself in the mirror. It's called self-reflection. Diving into yourself, that takes conscious effort. There's a lot that goes into it. It's just like working out. It takes a lot of force to bench press 225 pounds. It takes that same amount of force to really dive into yourself and open up your mind and kind of play surgeon, and pick out the parts of you that you think you could change, that could be more positive, and it's possible. And once you start to do that, it's going to affect every single part of your life, because what you weren't seeing before, you know how some people could hear, they have that telekinetic energy, they can hear voices, or they can mediums, they can speak
yeah,
to
they can feel
souls.
energy.
It's the same thing with us. Once we open ourselves up, we dive into ourselves, we really kind of pick apart our little nooks and crannies, things start to change and we start to perceive on positive energy. We start to pick up everything around us, and things we might not have seen before, we can then start to change our thinking and say, wait, I see that. I see that energy that 90-year-old man just put out to me, standing in line at Wendy's, and he turns around and he says to me, he gives me a joke about something on the menu, where before I might have thought that was weird, or like, I don't know this 90-year-old guy. Well, now I'm going to engage in conversation. I'm going to tell him a joke back. I'm going to ask him, how his day is going, or what's your favorite thing on the menu. That's what I'm talking about.
And you
That
know
happens a
what?
lot more.
That 90-year-old guy that you could have just totally ignored might might be your next boss, or might offer you an opportunity that you can never
Absolutely.
refuse just for joking around with him in that store. Because if you
Absolutely.
were negative and you didn't say anything back, or you really just threw him off the boat, you could have,
You,
right
you
there, you
close the
could
door.
have
You
exactly.
close the door.
You close the
That's a
door,
great
shut, locked, throw the key away. You're never gonna open that again.
that's a great tactic to employ in the gym. When you're working out, because who goes to the gym? Entrepreneurs, everyday people, first responders, businessmen, teachers. So many different types of people go to the gym, and you never know who you're going to meet. So,
Absolutely. Going into the next segment, I was gonna bring it up. Actually, Tiago asked a great question. How do you break out of your negative thinking? I want to touch on this a little bit because I think the hardest part of life, good versus bad, positive versus negative, is overcoming the negative, overcoming the bad, overcoming the temptations. It could be from relationships to, if people are getting involved in drugs, it could go to even in sales. There's there's
right.
good and bad of everything. And I think one of the hardest things in life is to find out how to break out of the negative thinking. Um, again, whether it's with thoughts in your head, with people you deal with, negative people, how do you break out of that if you're currently living with somebody who's super negative? and then just the situations that you get yourself involved to. Um,
Hmm.
I wanna shed a little light on that. Man, Tiago, it's really hard. I mean, I've been at the highest of highs and the lowest of lows, and Mark, you could vouch for this. Um,
Absolutely.
when you're so down, it's very hard to see anything that's good. Oh, this might work out. This might work out, and it's very difficult. Um, I don't know if I could directly answer a specific way of how to break out of the negative thinking, but I'll bring up one situation where I was working at a Honda store in New Jersey, and one of the salespeople there was also a preacher, and I was going through a really hard time with my personal life, with with everything. And
Hmm.
at the time, I went for him. I went to him to ask him a couple questions. What do I do? I'm thinking, should I go to church? I'm not very religious. I mean, what do I do? What do I
Right.
do? I need
You're
something to
stuck
get
in you're
me.
stuck in the mud. Your
I'm
wheels are
s-
just spinning and spinning.
I'm in my head, just burning my whole brain out. So I went to him and he said, "You know what?" I said, "Listen, I'm so negative. I need something to make me more positive." I went to him and he of course he put his Christian side to it, which is totally cool. I mean, I respect it, but it's the message behind
Right.
it that no matter what religion, it's just the message behind it. So what I did was I went to him and he said, "Listen, there's only one way to break out of negative thinking, whether it's relationships, people, your situation. Once you get that negative thought in your head, you have to acknowledge that it's there. If you don't acknowledge that it's there, then you're just lying to yourself."
I was
So
just I agree with you 100%.
so he said, acknowledge that the thought is there. Okay, so I have this right on my forehead, of whatever the negative saying is.
Whatever it may be. Right.
Right? I know that it's there. Now let me ask myself, is this really true? Or is it just me overthinking? And the truth was, it's all bullshit. It's all BS.
You're describing something called, and you did this just by talking to just someone in your workplace. You're describing something what is called a pivot point. I touched on it before a little bit, but it's a pivot point.
Right.
Just like you pivot on one foot, when the negative thought pops into your mind, you it takes conscious effort once again, but you pivot. You automatically turn around from that negative thought and you say, pump the brakes. Let's spin it. This could just be a mood. This might just be something that happened earlier in the day that affected me. I don't know. But you know what? I really don't think it's true. I really don't think I'm a lazy piece of crap or that I'll never amount to anything. I really do think I'm going to be successful. That pivot is instrumental in breaking out of the negativity, Tiago. Um, those negative thoughts will pop into your mind daily, multiple times. They're called ants, automatic negative thoughts. Okay? And what do you do with ants when you see them running across your floor? Unless you're, a tree hugger, which is totally fine. I usually,
I
I usually kill the ants.
don't want ants
I
in my
step
house.
on the ants. Hey, Karen, what's up? But yeah, I usually I step on the ants. I want to kill those automatic negative thoughts, and I want to pivot. I want to pivot to something positive. Tiago, that's just practice. Consciously practice that. Something pops into your head, say, oh, God, I have to work till 11 tonight. I really didn't want to, but at that point, you pivot. You pivot, and you say, you know what? I got to work till 11. I realize that,
Yeah, what are you
but I'm gonna be
working
okay.
towards? It's what you're
I'm gonna
working
be okay.
towards.
What am I working towards?
Correct.
I have a goal in mind. I'm gonna be okay. It's just a sacrifice for a little bit. I'm still gonna breathe. I'm gonna get up the next day and I'm gonna be productive. I'm gonna have, you know, Saturday and Sunday and Monday and Tuesday, and it's gonna go on and on. Um, that becomes habit, and you build the habit using discipline.
Absolutely. I'm going to read a couple comments here. Julie says, what you put out is what you get back. We have, let's see, a couple more people here. Let's say,
Alex said, from being in the gym, you find like-minded people, or wherever
right.
you tend to hang out, whether it's Starbucks or something. But yep, that's very true.
Then we have Robert. He says, you're both young guys. I guarantee you your mindset and outlook on life and experiences will alter constantly as you get older. You will always face all sorts of negativity and feel constantly tested on your ideals. But stay strong and don't be afraid to ask others who love you for guidance, understanding, and compassion. It's great. Alex again says, might of thoughts. We got some emojis with the foot and the stomping the ants.
Perfect illustration.
Yeah. Tiago said, perfectly said, guys. Thanks, guys. Listen, keep asking questions. Hey, Julie, what's going on? Julie Jaimo. I want everybody to ask questions. Let's get on to the next question that I have here. Please leave comments, share it, like it. All right, let's get into this. Let me ask you something, Mark.
Shoot, go ahead.
This is a great question that I thought that would bring me out of some negative things. Ask yourself, what is priceless about this moment?
What is priceless about this moment? Ask yourself, you mean like the moment we're in, or
Doesn't
just in
matter.
general?
As soon as the negativity comes in, as soon as, whatever bullshit you're dealing with, what is priceless about that moment?
Well, I break it down simply, very simply. What's priceless about it is that I have a life. I have a breath going in and out every 3 to 5 seconds. I have a heartbeat that's going strong. I have a family, and I have a house. I have people who take care of me. I have people I take care of. I have materials and possessions that some other people don't have the blessing to have, in third world countries. So by being humble and realizing what you have on your plate in front of you, everything around you that you're gifted to have, to me, that's priceless, because that affords me opportunity to get out of that mindset. I guarantee you it'd be a lot harder to get out of negativity if I didn't have a warm bed to go home to at night. If I didn't have, loving parents or family, or if I didn't have a great job, it'd be a lot harder to get out of that mindset. But because I've been granted the opportunity and all these bountiful possessions and loving family, I have that chance to get myself out of that rut, to kick my own ass and say, no, I have too much to live for. I have a lot that's priceless in my life.
Yeah, priceless. Everything's priceless. Your life is priceless.
Your life is priceless.
That's the big thing. Julie says, count your blessings, not your problems, which is great. Another comment she said is that you have something to learn and gain out of whatever moment you are in, no matter if it's negative or positive. And I completely agree with that. I mean, there's always a lesson in something, whether
Like I said,
whether you're
like I said
positive.
before, be a student for life.
Yeah. Let me go into. I was doing some research and I found a quote that I would like your input on. If you guys have any questions, please leave it in the comment box. You guys have any questions? Keep asking us.
Yeah,
We'll
guys,
answer them
ask
for you.
away.
Yeah.
James, Chris, what's up, guys? How we doing? Anybody, ask away, whatever it may be. Advice or situation you're going through. Share a story. Share, something maybe that's going on in your life, whether it's personal. We're here. We're here to help you. We're here to talk about it.
So the quote I want to go over is from Willie Nelson. And his quote is, once you place negative thoughts with positive ones, you'll start having positive results. And again, I think that goes back to everything we just said. And I think
Yeah,
it's perfect quote. Um,
absolutely.
I don't know if I would get it tattooed on me like my other ones and you too, but
uh,
but I think that's an awesome quote there. What do you
yeah,
think about that
well,
one?
I think that is another great quote to add to the arsenal. And you're right. I don't think I get it tattooed on me. I think one quote is enough. Um, but for those of you who don't know, I have a quote of a tattoo of a quote on my back that I was one of the first tattoos I got when I was technically underage. Um, so, but anyway, yeah, that quote definitely touches on what we talked about before regarding the laws of attraction and putting out positivity and getting positivity in return.
Absolutely. I think relating this to business, um, I have a couple topics I want to touch on. Guys, please ask questions. I know you guys are all watching. Uh, leave some comments on there. Ask some questions for us. Um, a couple things with business. Um, there's two things that I think that are, to me, I'm starting to realize are negatives. One being one being excuses, right? Excuses, I think, are negative. I mean, you don't want to get up to go to work. But why? Well, because I'm tired. But that's just an excuse. Why don't you push through and take a look at what your goal is? At the end of the year, I want to be at $100,000 year to date. At the end of the year, I want to be at $1 million year to date. At the end of the year, I want to buy myself this car, this house, this watch, whatever it might be. I think if you have excuses, that's all negative bullshit. That is just, and I've realized this because I tend to make a lot of excuses, and I think everybody makes a lot of excuses.
Everybody does.
But everybody has that day where they're just like, fuck, I really need to do something. I need to get, I need to move. I need to do something. Um, I mean, you gotta wake up and smell the coffee. You have to stop making the excuses, which means when you have excuses, you're already waking up in a negative thought. Do you think that
You're pretty.
excuses are negative?
Uh, Absolute excuses are negative because most of the time they're due largely in part uh, because of a negative mindset you're in or a negative experience. Of course, uh, the mind's natural inclination is to protect the house, right? So, in a situation that I'm going to say threatening, but it's not life or death. But yeah, in a negative situation, the body's going to kind of and the mind's going to kind of uh, pump the brakes. You know, it's going to start making those excuses or convincing you to make those excuses to not go out and be productive and not go out uh, um, and go to the gym and get rid of the stress. Or maybe your body's going to tell you to binge on potato chips or pizza rolls or something. You know,
For me,
we
it's
all get.
cookies and ice cream.
Yeah, I have a sweet tooth just like you, bro. It's bad. But absolutely, excuses are negative, but excuses can be worked through. All it takes, all it takes, and I want to touch on this later on. All it takes is discipline. 100%. That's something. If you ever played a high school sport, if you ever played football or track or wrestling, what was the number one thing your coaches tried to instill in you? Discipline. The
Right.
discipline to do 5 extra sprints or work out an extra hour after practice. That because discipline is never fleeting. Motivation is fleeting. Motivation is fleeting. Uh, you know, it's when you're in a happy mindset, it is easier to be motivated and stay motivated because it's based
Absolutely.
on mood.
Hmm.
You know, um, it's easier when you're in a bad mindset to say, oh, screw it. I'm going to have 5 more cookies. I don't care.
Yeah.
But when you're disciplined enough, and if this is something you can teach yourself, you don't need a coach. You don't need, I don't want to make you guys think, you need to play football in high school to learn discipline. You don't. Discipline you can teach yourself. When you discipline yourself, you don't rely on motivation to get you out of an excuse. Your excuse might be, you know what, I'm going to take a break from the gym today. I'm way too tired. I had a long day at work. But discipline yourself to say, you know what, I'm tired. I get it. But I need to get to the gym. I need to clear my head. I need to do something. I need to get active. I can't just sit at home. I know that. I know I can't just sit at home. That's against my goal. That's against everything I want to do. But discipline is the key to getting you through those excuses.
Absolutely. I totally agree with that. I'm going to read some comments. Bill says
Yeah,
if you're,
I
if,
think Josh here kind of, and Bill too. Bill had said, if you are around positive people, you will have positive thoughts. If you're around negative people, you will become negative. So stay away from those type of people because all they will do is bring you down. That's absolutely
I want to
wasn't
go,
correct.
I want to go into that a little bit, Bill. In my industry, in the car business, there's nothing but negative Nancy's walking around the dealership. I mean, even in law enforcement, I'm sure people are miserable with their lives. I mean, I have family in law enforcement as well. I'm sure they could shed light on some of the negative things.
Right.
When it comes to being around people who are negative, try to steer away. I mean, or let it go through one ear and out the other. You have to make your own decision. You have to. So some people will say, "Oh, this dealership doesn't pay any money. I'm out of here. I don't want to be here anymore." Blah blah blah.
You get
Don't
that
let
in every profession.
don't let
Every
anybody
profession.
else's opinion or whatever they're going through make it reality for you.
Yeah.
You have to figure that out for yourself. Let me read another one.
Absolutely.
Josh says, Mark, as a first responder, how have you approached and handled the inherent negativity faced regularly in the fire service or emergency medical field?
So that's a great question. Josh, from your profile picture, it looks like you're a fellow first responder. You also happen to be in my academy. So great question. Uh, how have I approached and handled the inherent negativity faced regularly in the fire service and emergency medical field? Um, that all that comes down to, well, for me personally, uh, just having that confidence, that strong inner belief that what you're doing um, is one of the most positive acts you can do in this world. We every day as first responders, we are one of the fingers of God or whatever creator you believe in, because we have the power to save lives, and we also unfortunately have the power to take away a life, and that's something you never want to happen. As a law enforcement officer. But in the fire service and the emergency medical field, if you believe enough in just in what you do, that in the brotherhood or sisterhood you have with your fellow first responders, that negativity, it kind of just becomes an afterthought. It'll get to you. It'll get to you, but you're not going to let it sink the ship, because what you believe in is much more valuable
Just throw the
than
negativity, throw it the
any
fuck away.
bullshit.
Just throw it out.
Absolutely.
Just throw it out.
Absolutely. Josh goes on to, he says, with your experience in prior law enforcement, how has your positivity affected your interactions with inmates? Great question, because I was prior corrections. State of Florida corrections, third largest prison system in the world.
Shout
At the
out to
prison,
Florida.
yeah, whoop, there you go. With being in that prison, we had 700 plus psych inmates. It was a level 3 psych camp, meaning we had inmates who had a lot of mental diseases and issues. We had hundreds of gangs. Okay. We had so many different groups of people, and no, Julia was not locked up. I was on the other
No, no, no,
side
no,
of
no,
the
no, no.
bus.
She's asking, you know the
Oh, was
show
I on
Lock
lockup?
Up. Yeah.
Oh. Oh man. Uh, but so yeah, again, it touches down with the laws of attraction, and I know I keep referring to it. I sound like a broken record, but only because it's so damn true.
It's true.
Um, the positivity I've given out in the prison, you can see it affect the lives of the inmates around you. You know, if you're able to just make someone's day a little bit better, just do something, even if something so small. What might seem small to you might be something so big to someone else. You're changing their universe, maybe. You know, you have an inmate on your hands that's crying, that's possibly emotionally disturbed because maybe he lost a loved one over the weekend and he was supposed to see them on visitation on Sunday. But instead of just offering, you know, your generic sympathetic response that you learned in the academy,
My
you
condolences.
you off right, exactly, you know, my condolences, I'm sorry, buddy, you know, but you got to get back in your cell. No, take that time, take that time, put yourself in their shoes, try to solve their problem, try to be some sort of positive wave in their ocean, that makes them kind of view, you know, your occupation, because they're going to say, you know what, that guy helped me, that correctional officer, he's no guard, he's not a guard, that's a human being who's living up to his badge, and he's living up to his values, and I can see that, and I appreciate him that much more. And you know what, I'm going to help him if he ever needs help. If he ever gets into trouble, I'm going to back him up. And that's really what it comes down to in corrections, or being out on the streets on patrol.
Now, Chris goes on to say, Chris, what's going on, brother? Chris says, a routine plays a huge part in discipline, so I would definitely consider people having a planner or try to fill up time with things and be with people that will better your mind, spirit, and body. He also goes on to say that you're the only one steering. Don't let any other uh, pirates or glaciers, he says, meaning people or a situation, ruin your sailing.
I like that. Pirates
That's a
or
good one.
glaciers. I
Pirates
like
or
that.
glaciers. Nice. That's a really good one. Jordan says interesting. Thanks, Jordan, for watching.
Thanks,
Alrighty.
Jordan.
I want to go over a really cool fact that I was researching. Again, guys, if you have any comments, questions, please share it in the box. I would definitely like to
Absolutely. Please
answer it.
do.
Um, I have a great fact. It's tying business and positivity together. So
Let's hear it.
research confirms that the top successful people have a 5-to-1 ratio positive to negative dialogue. So that means that they're 5 times more positive statements as they talk about negatives. 5-to-1.
I don't even know. I didn't know that. That's
You gotta do your
but
research, bro. What the hell?
I know that you got to teach me your ways. But that makes sense. That makes sense. A 5 to 1 ratio, you said.
So
Uh,
5 times they're when they speak in statements. 5 times to 1 they're speaking positive to negative. Now that makes total sense. The most successful people are thinking more positive because if they're negative, I mean, would they be where they are?
it's a direct correlation. If we remember our graphs from high school learning, you know, in I don't know, what was it, algebra? It's a direct correlation. The more positive thinking you do, the more it's going to translate into your business or your personal life. You just got to be patient enough to ride out that journey.
Julie says, speak it into existence. Law of attraction.
Uh, I like that. Speak
That's
into
it.
existence.
That's it.
I like that.
All right. Next question. Why is attitude a key to becoming successful?
Wise attitude. I mean, if you're gonna have a negative attitude, if you're gonna have or an apathetic attitude, meaning, I don't care, that I don't care attitude. Yeah, you know what? I don't care. I don't care about the numbers this month. It's slow season. It's August. Everyone's on vacation. You know, no, no. That attitude is completely against everything you're fighting for. I mean, if you're fighting to have that e-commerce business in, t-shirts or workout equipment, fitness equipment, or maybe it's weight belts. If you're looking to have that business, you think you're going to get there with an apathetic attitude that's going to set you up for failure? Absolutely not. You
No.
need to have that positive attitude, and again, that comes down to discipline. You build a habit. You build that habitual mindset of staying with a positive attitude.
I want to list some good positive traits, and I'm going to start to wrap it up here. We had a great conversation. Some good positive traits, being optimistic is one of them. Spreading joy and happiness, not being miserable, stop just being down in the dumps, Spread
Absolutely.
happiness, laugh, joke around. A
We're not
big
9
one,
billion people on this earth, so
yeah,
you know
a big one is never dwelling on your past and hooking onto it. Trying not to bring it with you into the future. Man,
we
that's
are
a
all.
tough one. That's a hard
That's
one.
probably one of the toughest things you said this video right now, this podcast. So
Never dwelling on the past, man, it's tough. Um, Learning from your mistakes is a big one. Again, that ties into the one with the
ties
past,
into what used the previous one.
right? Having great self-esteem, confidence, magnetism, everything I've been talking about for the past couple of videos. Um, and then never letting failure stop you. Never
I
letting
mean,
failure stop you.
all those traits should absolutely be in your arsenal. Those traits. Again, we're not saying, guys. We're not saying these are traits that you can just kind of like pick up and just like put in your pocket easily. 1, 2, 3. You can't order them on a machine and they just drop right into a cup of ice for you, and there you go. You're going to sip on the cup and you have all those traits. No, that's not how it works. Some of these traits, they're there. The roots are there, guys. But what it takes is effort, just to work on them every day. I like to call it small little victories. I had a video about this on my Instagram, my fitness page. You have to have small little victories each and every day, because it snowballs. It snowballs. Your mind starts to change. Your experiences start to change. You gain those attributes and those traits, and they become more prominent. And you find that power to let go of your past or learn from your mistakes.
That's yeah, that's great, bro. That's a great way to wrap this up. Um, I have one last question, and I have to ask it every episode. I
I think
hope
I
you're
know
ready
what's
for it.
coming.
Oh, do you?
I think
Alrighty.
so.
Last question to wrap it up. If you guys have any other comments, I'll answer them all night. Please comment, like, share it. Last question is, Marc Braun, what is your drive?
What is my drive? I thought that was the question.
That's
My drive, um, it's not $1 million car. It's not $1 million car. It's not possessions and materialistic things. It's being emotionally and financially comfortable. I want to live my life in 20 years. I want to be happy, settled in like 90% of other people on this earth do. But I want to spend time with my kids and my family. I want to be able to do that, not having to worry about a mortgage or living paycheck to paycheck. My drive is being able to fully share my life one day with my loved ones, because time, in my 21 short years, time is the number one thing I have learned that is most valuable. It's the thing we take the most advantage of. And it might sound like a broken record to some of you. You know, we've all experienced death and loss in our lives, but time is something that is invaluable and you can never get it back. And that is exactly why we don't dwell on the past. We don't hold grudges. We don't keep negativity in our lives because there's no room for it.
Oh,
If
thank
we
you.
let if we let that dictate how our lives run, that clock is going to run even faster. So my drive, just financial and emotional comfortability, being happy, being successful, being able to give my kids everything that they want and that they deserve, and being able to leave a legacy where they can share what I believe in. And
That's a perfect way to answer it.
I want to leave it off on a personal note. Almost 2 years ago now, my uncle passed away from pancreatic cancer. It was hard. He was 59 and a half. He leaves behind 3 cousins. It took him in 6 months. 6 months it took him in. He was diagnosed 2 August ago, and he passed the following January. He always had a motto that he lived by called "Leave the world better than you found it." I don't know, if anyone's ever heard it before, but just think of it as a kid, you grow up with your parents telling you, hey, wherever you got that from, go put it back, make sure it gets back in its home, put it in its home. Where'd you get that cup from? Go clean it and put it in its home, or that blanket, whatever it may be. Well, that's exactly what all 9 billion people on this earth should be practicing. We need to leave the world better than we found it. We're not only going to put the cup back where it came from, but we're going to dust off the shelf. We're going to maybe arrange the other cups. We're going to make sure none of them are cracked. Meaning, we're going to pick each other up and we're going to help each other. I'm going to save my judgment. I'm going to let you prove to me what I should be judging you on. And I'm going to help you. I'm going to teach you first. I'm going to pick you up with me. You have something to teach me. I have something to teach you. We're going to learn from each other. I'm going to hold that door open for that old lady, and she's going to teach me something. She's going to say thank you, or she'll make a comment to me. I'll make a comment to her in return. That's what I believe my uncle meant. And I think that's something that I'll take to the grave with me.
And you never know where that will lead you to, which wraps it all up.
Absolutely.
Marc Braun, episode 3 of The Drive, the power of positivity and everything around it. How to get rid of negativity.
Awesome.
It was a great
session.
If you guys want to keep commenting, I'll be up online answering questions. Marc will shed some light on them as well. Social media pages, you'll find me at Nick L. Cerami on Instagram. I started a new Instagram. Please follow me there if you haven't already done so for the latest and up-to-date things about the drive and just my personal life. Marc Braun.
Give him a follow. You can find me on Instagram. My full name, Marc Braun _. Just type it in the Instagram field. I'll pop right up. Give me a follow. I always post these types of talks, motivation videos. I post fitness tips. I'm always answering. I'm always responding to my DMs or comments. I love interacting with you guys. So, I'm always here for you. Those of you who know me, I'll give the shirt off my back for you. So.
Oh, I know that. Alrighty, it was a great episode. I'd love to have you on again. Let's do this again next time.
Gracias, muchachos.
Alrighty, guys, take care. Episode 3 done. The Drive.
Take care, guys.
Take care, guys.
Thanks for coming.